So hi guys, as Daria mentioned, my name is Kate. I'm very happy to be here to present here for you. Actually, it's my first meetup, which is arranged by Wix Engineering, and I'm proud of to be a part of this community. I hope you will enjoy next upcoming hour or so. Please write your questions. I'm very happy and will be glad to answer those at the very end. Don't hesitate to add any messages to chat. I will try to read it afterwards, not in the moment, so chat will be missed for a little while. Let me introduce myself a little bit. So yes, I'm Kateryna. It's my full name in Ukrainian. I'm from Dnipro. It's in eastern part of Ukraine. For more than 8 years already, I've been working as a QA. About a year and a half of it, I'm a part of Wix, great and outstanding company with awesome people, which I love and enjoy a lot. I'm playing a role of QA guild leader there, which is kind of management position in cooperation and mix of some tech stuff as well. I enjoy it a lot. It's a quite good combination for me personally, and I believe for each QA. I'm 31 years old, if somebody is interested, and I'm also mom of two great 5 years twin boys. But yeah, that's it. This is my picture, my contacts. If you want to write me, just use this email. There will be also some LinkedIn stuff, etc. at the end, so you can contact me if miss a chance to ask questions here during the Q&A. Let me tell you a bit more about our company. It will unleash some facts and numbers about it, so you have some basis for the future talk. So here you can see that the very first one on the top is the number of users our systems have. It's actually very close, or even not less than 200 million users already. We have a huge user base, I think. We have 2 million signups done on monthly basis. So actually it's like 2 million people are joining us each month. There are 2,500 of people who are spread over 7 locations. Here I only mean R&D development, research and development offices. Company is of Israeli origin. And these 7 locations contains 3 from Israel. It's mostly Tel Aviv and also Beersheba and Haifa. We also have colleagues in Vilnius, Lithuania. I've seen Migli has put plus in the chat at the very beginning. Hello, Migli, miss you much. And also we have 2 offices in Ukraine. It's Dnipro, where I am, and also Kyiv. It's a little bit bigger one, and maybe there are our colleagues from Kyiv here as well. So welcome and hi guys. The company, the Wix company here, consists of more than 30 mini companies, we call. Sometimes we even call them mini startups, separate startups. People in them work independently, separately, but they are still united within the professional guilds. And this is why the number 20 guilds is here as well. The guilds combine people based on their engineering practices, like QA guild, guild for front-end developers, UX guild, PMs. We are a cloud-based company, so we are doing development and testing in cloud as well, since our prod in cloud is our test engine in cloud, is everything simultaneously at the same time, in same place. And also, if we need to run certain performance measurements, if we need to know some baselines of our systems, we do not need to get a lot of preparation done before. We can simply do it with our only and single and V1 production. Of course, there are some risks by doing this and by taking this approach. And one of them is keeping the application up and running in the 24/7 mode, because there can be some data loss issues. Some rollback has happened accidentally or on purpose. We also need to have a very strong recovery policy, and the process of recovery the system need to be established very well. This recovery for recovery sometimes even. Another risk is harming our users' experience, because we can run certain tests which might influence certain feature, etc. And running that performance test, which I mentioned as a pro, can also be a con sometimes, because it can load system too much. For us, it doesn't happen because we are already experienced company in running test and development and prod, but still it can be an option of a risk. We need to take it into account. There are plenty of techniques which actually make testing in production possible. We use a lot of them. Let me tell just a few so you know. So for instance, we are doing gradual rollout, meaning that features are not released to everyone in 1 minute and 1 second. We are starting by gradually opening the features to different groups of people, smaller ones, and increasing the size of it. We are also using canary deployment, meaning that features are not open with a huge bunch of files, static overrides, which need to be replaced with new ones, but we do it with a smaller piece, like a canary steps. We also use testbed environment. It's a limited, isolated environment where the changed code is put and deployed in first, and then after a fast feedback of automated tests, we can safely deploy it further for other bigger servers, data centers. We also have this automated user acceptance test, which I mentioned as a very fast, with very speedy feedback. We are having multivariate testing, which will be quite a lot discussed today. And also we are using monitoring, both on real users, which we have an option of, and on synthetic monitoring is also applied for our systems. I have mentioned multivariate testing just a second ago, in addition to all other production testing-wise techniques. And this is actually the one which is a major, maybe, approach for all developers, engineers, of all people involved in development in our company. This is a major approach and process for us. We do experiment. If I can ask what the experiment is, I'm pretty sure there will be some answers related to chemistry or physical classes at school or maybe universities. I'll tell you what the experiment is for us in the development world. The experiment is a changing of systems behavior. And for us, specifically, there are two types of experiments exist. And the first one is a feature toggle. This is the one for sure I need to start from, because in our company, we follow feature toggle development. This is our development framework, the process framework. What does this feature toggle mean? A feature toggle is basically an if statement which covers each and every piece of code planned to be put into the production. When the feature toggle is on, or equals to yes, the code is executed in production. If the feature toggle is off, turned off, equals no, code is there, but it's not running. What does it give us? It actually provides a possibility of getting, but making early commit. So unperfect, unfinished sometimes code can be put into the prod, but with turned off feature toggle, and harming 0 users, but developer can continue working on it and looking at how it behaves. As well as it provides and can provide early feedback for the developer, how code has been deployed, if everything is going fine, if nothing is forgotten from the commit, if no files are left uncommitted, something like this. It is also a matter of safety using feature toggles, because if there are some issues happening with a certain feature, you can turn it off and simply remove the bug like this. Feature toggles, it's actually a powerful and meaningful tool for QA in our company, for QA people in our company. This is how QA engineer in a certain team can get not released feature covered with a feature toggle enabled for themselves. So they turn on the feature toggle, get the feature available for them, do deep and dive testing, they explore, they run certain monitoring if they need, they can change, provide the feedback, register bugs, developers fix them, and then redeploy. And this is actually how full cycle of feature life, including the release, can be done, but with limited or better, say, controlled availability to a certain well-thought group of people. For sure, knowing that there are more than 2,500 of people involved in R&D in our company, we are having a lot of these experiments. And to manage those, there was a system created in Wix. It's an open source tool which you can use. Here is a link and also QR code which leads to it. You can download it, use it in your companies, apply it for managing and controlling experiments. This cute guinea pig to the right side is actually a UI interface of the Petri sidekick, which provides possibility for each and every employee knowing the specification of experiment to navigate for it, search for it, open its details, view its state, know more and more about it and how open it is, and add it to themselves, open it to themselves. So this is a quite good and useful tool for us to manage and control experiments. What do I mean by experimenting on humans? Here I mean that using feature toggles can make the code available for a specific group of people. So we can open certain feature or execute certain code, literally, for a very well-thought group of people, very well-thought audience, which we can select based on any logical rule, like, for instance, geographical location. So only for people who are in Kiev or United States. It can also be browser which is used by user. So only for people in Chrome we open this feature, or only for people who are still using Edge or Internet Explorer we can provide this bug fix for some issue with the browser. And also it can be a language which people use. It can be selecting, deselecting bots and robots from the analytics we gather and monitoring, which matters to us a lot, and we do not need to know how bots behave. And the other important group which we are running experiments on is Wix employees, Wix staff. So we can open certain specific experiments for all employees to get early feedback on PA engineers, developers, whoever else will face your feature, with not even notifying everyone sometimes, by just getting a silent feedback of how the system is behaving right after we have released certain feature. It's a very convenient tool, and this is how we do experiment on humans. So I told you a lot. I told you a lot about feature toggles, and this is the first type of experiments we use. But there is also a second one, a A/B test. A/B test is also an experiment. It is a system behavior change, which when we care a lot about the system state. It's kind of a stateful experiment in opposite to stateless feature toggle. Let me tell you a story of an A/B test. When users come to Wix to create their stunning websites for themselves, for their businesses, this is actually the product idea of Wix, if you haven't heard about it or didn't know. Users, when they come to Wix, they have had two options to achieve this. And the second one, which was added a little bit later. The first one is using Wix editor, which is very famous. I'm pretty sure majority of people here already aware of it or even tried it out for themselves, for friends. It's quite popular. The editor provides you possibility to configure different applications, to customize styles, customize shapes and the logic of behaving of your elements, etc., comprehensive drag and drop. But there is a second option which was added a bit later, and it is called ADI, Artificial Design Intelligence System, which is kind of grandma style when I do not want, and maybe I cannot simply have zero experience with working with UIs. I want simply to have my website ready with as less effort as I can. So it provides you possibility to answer 5 questions, like what is the color scheme and the topic of my site? Do I need blog? Do I need something else? If I have a domain? And that's it. In 2 minutes, I get my site ready and available to be published live. So this second option was added later on. And here on the screen, you can see the winning option of providing it via A/B test. Just will tell you that there were quite a lot of options of achieving this. There were horizontal split of options in favor of this vertical one. There was also an editor option, a big one, and a smaller link to ADI. There were different color solutions for this. But this one, simple one, lightweight one, has won, even if it may look to you a little bit too simple. It has won, and additionally, it has shown the increase of monitored KPIs for a dozen times. And this could only have happened and learned by us if only we tried this and run it in practice and monitor the results and understood what was the impact of our UI options. So what is the point here about A/B test? The point is that running multivariate testing is a good strategy to building up your product map, to building the product feature set. As well as it can prove or improve your hypothesis, and you can check it out on your users if you meet their expectation, if you do what they need for their business and life. But is it simple, if you ask? No, for sure it is not. Doing A/B tests, running A/B tests requires a lot of preparation. Product managers, business analysts, which we have a lot, hundreds of people are working in this field at Fix. In cooperation with QA people and also development teams, they need to clarify and establish experiment properly, clearly, so that they know what to monitor. Our owners of experiment need to know exact moment when experiment starts, so-called start event, as well as when should the experiment finish and when we do not continue monitoring the system state. It is also vital to define the longitude of the experiment. How long should it happen? How long should we involve new people for the feature set provided by AB, and also for how long? When should we start? When should we stop doing this experimenting? Also important, of course, as I have mentioned so many times already about humans, important thing is to define the target group. Who should we start from? Who should we exclude or maybe include specifically into this experiment? And whose experience should we evaluate first? We should also clearly define what KPIs to monitor. It's not always about a change for better, I mean the AB or the new feature. Sometimes we simply need to make sure we didn't make worse. I mean that people didn't start facing issues with our features, with our flows, and this is so-called defensive test. It can be, for instance, a framework upgrade or some refactoring has been done, some maintenance on changing these data centers, some infra, etc. So we are running defensive tests there as well. What's important here for QA engineers it's that position of a quality-oriented person is not in just creating a product, but meeting users' expectations and building the right product to the right users in cooperation with PM. Testers are strongly involved in experiments preparation and running. It's also a tool to build up the product itself, which is important to each and every QA person. And also, by monitoring and viewing the results of A/B tests, we know our user base. We can learn what they need, what they do, how do they behave, and so adjust our own approaches to testing. So this is actually the ultimate goal, right, of each QA, to know how to test very closely to the approaches which users use. So let me sum up a little bit. If you want to have a multivariate testing applied, A/B tests in this particular case, you need to remember a few important things. Sometimes you should not follow your common sense. Something which feels like a better option, like something which will work much better and become much more useful for your business or your use, may be not so, just because people are different, and something may go totally different, absolutely different. You should never lie with numbers to yourself. You should not play the game of selecting a specific set of people who will prove your option. You should always be fair. You should always select big enough group which will prove or improve your hypothesis. You need to be honest here. Also, you need to test where the biggest impact is. You shouldn't create A/B tests for each and every small and tiny pieces of your product, but only for comprehensive and big changes which you may feel the impact from, and the bad feelings or pain points of users if you introduce them or not. Tests need to be clearly defined, which I have said a lot already about. User group, longitude, KPIs, etc., etc. It's not enough to just create an A/B test or define it. You need to remember that there will be a lot of analytical data which you need to solve, study, share the results with the team, make some decisions right after based on this, and to adjust to what you have learned if you want really to use A/B. Please remember that multivariate testing is not a silver bullet, even for product development, the roadmap, I mean, because there are easier and less expensive time and resources-wise options. Like you can simply select a big group of alpha or beta group of people, talk to them, sit next to your users, which does not require that much of preparation and maintenance. But it still can be an option for you. And the last but not least, you should not overestimate the result. The winner option, which is chosen as a winner on, for instance, 10% of your user group of 200 million people, can still be a risky one or not that good one for the whole group when you open it to public to 100% of your users. So you just need to be aware of that A/B tests and taking the result is also about taking a risk sometimes. So as I mentioned, we are running a lot and many of A/B tests, hundreds of them, thousands of them. And we do it simultaneously for more than 30 teams in our company. To stay mentally fine, healthy in this pace, in this speed, it's quite important, right? And this is what helps us a lot, of course, automation on many levels, everywhere where can we apply it. So we use it a lot and a lot. Knowing the number of possible features, variety of changes, which can be done, unpredictable behavior sometimes if a certain A/B test has been combined with a feature toggle from the mother team. Let me remind you, we have a single production for more than 30 teams who are working independently, one from another. We are having automation on many levels, like CI and CD, of course. Code storage and team access is well automated for sure, as everyone does actually, I believe. We do also have automated release and deploy pipelines, as majority of people here, I believe, as well. There are many and a lot of automated tests on all levels, like unit tests, integration tests, E2E, visual tests, appearance tests, so to call. We use different people to create them. It's not only engineers, but devs, sometimes even product managers using very specific tools dedicated for them. We do have automated user acceptance testing scope, which I mentioned as a technique of testing in prod a little bit earlier. There are automatic test checks in test bed environment. They're isolated, very fast ones, like lightning fast. We have automated rollback systems, which work whenever something went wrong. When deployed to production, has created certain issues or pain points for users. There are some bad signs, and we can roll back. And we have also monitoring system automated, running automatically. In addition to everything which I have mentioned, everyone in our company is a 10P. So our teams are 10P compliant. It sounds weird, I know, but I will explain. Some time ago, I've visited a European testing conference in Valencia. It was actually quite a good one. I strongly suggest you to join certain events like this if you have an opportunity and if you have possibility to do so. So there I have attended a talk of Angie Jones. Here is her Twitter if you want to. She has uncovered this 10-piece technique for myself and shared her experience in the Twitter where she worked previously, as well as the Apply tools system for visual comparison test creation. You might have heard about this. We are using it in our testing and daily life. So she has tried out the 10P technique for the team as a developer advocate. This is her title, by the way. I think you can hear a little bit of power, and be proud of her and ourselves as key engineers. So basically, sometimes when you are about to join a new project or the project is about to start, you can use this 10 vectors of project evaluation to realize if it should even be started or maybe not. So these are the P's. I will tell you a little bit about them. So the project means that to make the project testable, because it's 10 P's of testability. So the project, to make it testable, need to have well-defined time, resources, space, which are provided to get the work done. People P means that teams involved in development need to have a specific, very proper mindset, knowledge, skills, which will meet the need. The product team is quite often missed from many teams in developing, but it is an important one. It should be designed to be testable because it needs to facilitate exploration. It needs to have automation on all levels to be built in, so it can be taken well and carried well with automated tests in different directions. The problem P means that teams and people involved need to know very well what is the main business idea of the product. What will it solve for user? It is very important, and sometimes people do not even care a lot about it. The process P means that there should be a help of decomposing work units, that team should be able to not accumulate like debt, but to improve what they do. Sorry. The pipeline P mean that team need to have a way to get fast, reliable feedback from what they do. They need to have a chance to adjust to changes in the world, in the environment. The proactivity P means that the whole team need to actively search for improvement, for adjusting and optimizing tool set used for development, testing, any other activity. Philosophy P means that all team approach, all team responsibility and collaboration is maintained by everyone in the team, everyone who is involved in development. Productivity means that blend of development and test for sure activities is properly selected to meet the needs of the product itself and the users on that side of the wall. And the production issues P means that the bugs which are coming from support, if you have one, if it's already a released product, do not need to load team completely. And if the team needs to work on progressing on developing new features, there need to be a dedicated person for support specified, or the team, even if there are a lot of this, but production issues should not overload the development team. What you need to do here is, and how you can apply it in your scopes, you, before getting into a new project, you can go over all of these 10 Ps and try to evaluate them with your knowledge and with what you have and know about the product, evaluate them against your product and the team and the people and everything, each and every tiny P here. Very likely you will have something like green marks opposite to what are fine and well defined in your setup. There will be red ones for sure, like crosses, for instance, which you cannot meet or cannot be improved in your case right now. There very likely will be some yellow ones, like question marks, which you cannot evaluate or maybe are not applicable in your case. But anyway, when you have evaluated a list of these 10 Ps, you can understand that, for instance, there are 5 red crosses, 5 very lacking attention areas in your product, meaning that something needs to be tuned, something needs to be adjusted or improved, like some pipeline stuff or the process stuff or production issues need to be controlled well. And you can improve right before starting the setup of your team to make the product testable, to make the team available to develop and test, and to make it possible to achieve successful results in development. So looking at all of this, what I have thought a lot, I can say that we do lean testing. Or, as this slide says, we are following smart and optimized way of doing testing. I hope, and I'm pretty sure most of people know what the lean is. It's a framework of development from Toyota. Then you need to eliminate wastes on different levels. And this is why I believe that we are doing quite similar to what Toyota does in testing. We eliminate waste on these 5 levels. So the very first one is a waste of uncontrolled overprocessing. We do not cook the feature till the state when it's dead burned, when it's overcooked. We do not do it for too long. We deliver fast. we deliver it in ready-to-consume state. We get early user feedback and adjust the taste or the flavor of the feature if needed. We also do not do overproduction. We eliminate this waste just because we are able to open feature partially. And let's imagine that certain epic was planned to be done in using 5 user stories, and we have opened 3 of them to our users, and it's working fine for them and covers 100% of users' needs. We can simply stop here and do not develop this direction anymore, but switch to something which is more relevant, more interesting, and useful for us. The next waste is waste of waiting, which we also try to eliminate. We are reducing time to redeploy, deploy, to find bugs, to transport changes from development team to real users. And yeah, saving time is actually always good, right? Another waste which we are eliminating is the waste of configuration. We do not spend tons of time to configure test environment, to configure development, pre-prod, pre-development, pre-push, and any other environments. We simply do not need it. We are having a production environment which works fine and suits well everyone. But it can be customized for a single person using feature toggles, experiments, etc., which I have covered already a lot and said a lot of words about it. And the last, again, but not least one, is a waste of potential. When QA engineers are having quite a lot of automation behind them, when they trust their code by having automated tests run, when they are involved in product building using A/B tests, when they are doing exploratory and only test manually some critical and nice stuff and interesting one, it's a good feeling for a QA to be involved in a very serious business, isn't it? I hope you feel so as well.